Welcome to another episode of First Impressions, a podcast where we talk about our lives as Asian Australians and other cross-cultural topics. I'm your host Nathan, and as always with me is Clement.
Clement the Malaysian.
How are you
Full
doing?
name, middle name, and last name. Clement.
The is your middle name.
No, there's my surname.
What?
I
So
don't
what's your
know.
middle
So
name?
actually, that would make it the Clement Malaysian.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Moving on.
No, it could. Well, yeah, no. So is Clement your surname?
I said moving on.
Okay. How are you doing today, anyway, Clement?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. You know, it's been another week.
It is another week. Yeah, you were telling me a little earlier that you were feeling a creative sort of mood. Hey.
Yeah, just feel like, sitting there, drawing something on my face, cooking something, throwing that on the ground. It's just all over the place at the moment.
That's good. Well,
But that's how I like to live my life. All over the place.
I don't know if that's very good. I prefer a little bit more structure, which is why we're not talking about creativity today. We're going to be continuing on from our
You
last
got me.
podcast,
You got me, buddy.
which is a little more into the whole sort of Asian Australian versus Asian American sort of thing that we talked about before.
So
But
it's a continuation of our last topic.
that's
like,
exactly
on our
what I
last
just
episode.
said. Yes.
Right.
Even he doesn't listen to me. That's all right. Well, let's have a bit of a recap of what we talked about last time, right?
And I'm in the same room with you. These people were listening to this on a device.
Yeah. Are you saying that they're not going to be listening to me either, or
Or me.
maybe you should just take over for this one, huh?
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Culture.
Yeah? Culture. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. We're continuing to talk about our Asian Australian culture. What we talked about last time is that, not anyone really calls themselves Asian Australian. We also compared American Asians to Australian Asians briefly, mainly on topics of notable Asians that Clement here kind of dug up a list of before.
A list.
He did.
Stats.
And stats.
From Wikipedia.
Very much so. And what else did we talk about? The difference in opinion between Asian Americans and Asian Australians on our culture's sort of exposure and identity. How
Right.
they felt there was a lot more that needed to be done, whereas Asian Australians were a little more laid back on the whole
More
situation.
relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wanted to also talk a little bit more about things on our side, talk about how we have a bit of a mix of our Australian culture with our Filipino culture, Australian culture with our Malaysian culture.
Right.
Yeah, so kind of sharing our stories on those sort of fronts today.
Well, just in case people aren't Australian listening to this, should we briefly sum up typical Australian culture for them?
Yeah, why not? Let's do that. Well, how would you?
So hang on, we'll make it into a game. If you were to describe Australian culture in, let's say, 5 words,
5 words.
what would those 5 words be?
Bloody hot.
That's 2.
Yeah.
You've got 3 left.
Pies.
Okay.
Cricket.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't even have 5 words. I don't think.
Now this is the culture.
Yeah, true. Oh, maybe I should start again if it's culture. Hey.
Yeah. Well, how about I go with? I'll
you go
give
first.
you mine. So
Yeah.
mine would be proud. Australian people are really proud of their culture. They're proud to be Australian. People are, I guess, patriotic here in a way. I think a lot of Australians that I know would, if they were called to arms, they would, in a heartbeat, go and do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? VB. VB is a
VB
very
is a
popular,
culture?
well, VB and 4X Cold. Either one of the two.
Beer. Yeah.
Yeah. Beer. Oh, yeah, beer. There we go. That's a good one. Steaks. Australian people love their steaks. And the beach. Very big culture here in Australia.
Very true.
Very big beach culture, I should say. Given that, all of our capital cities, like state capitals, seaside. Canberra, the capital of the entire country, is inland.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, we got Jervis Bay, technically, don't we? That's a beach.
Canberra?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Canberra technically owns Jervis Bay, which is like a coastal. Like every capital
Really?
city needed to have a dock or a bay or some sort. So
Like a port.
yeah, some sort of port. So we technically own Jervis Bay. Pretty sure it's Jervis Bay.
Well, we learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So, okay, so it was proud, patriotic, beer, steak, and
The beach.
beach. Those are my 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that pretty much sums up the Australian culture in a sense, I suppose.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could add other things like multicultural, which we really are. I mean, let's face
Right,
it, we
yeah.
have a lot of varying sort of opinions, ideas, people, religions, which is awesome,
That's
by
right.
the way.
That's right.
Sport, that's also very, very important to
Sport.
us.
How did I forget sport?
Because you put VB in there instead.
No. Dude.
Which is just
sports
I was just about to say, it's just as important.
Oh, okay.
It comes, they're hand in hand.
Exactly. You go to the MCG and you sit down and you have your pint of VB.
It's true.
So you're getting trashed while you're watching sport.
We have, what else? I guess dangerous animals isn't really a culture.
Actually, on the top of my head was stingrays.
Well, I guess maybe dangerous animals do have something to do with our culture, right? Like, we pretty much have to live, a lot of people have to live their lives kind of just around it. The other day, I was on a walk and I nearly stepped on a brown snake. Those things are poisonous, if people don't know. Yeah, legit. Just on a walk, casually. I like to go on a bit of a walk.
Yeah.
I was on my way home, snake on the bridge. I was like, well, guess I'm going around the bridge, and had to go the long way. It took an extra 10 minutes to get home.
Wait, like, it was sitting there in the middle of the bridge.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't give a fuck.
No, it was like less than a meter away from my foot too. I didn't notice it until the tongue just started slithering out.
Wow.
Yep, and I was just like, okay. That was kind of close.
The snake owns that bridge now.
Yeah, he owned that bridge. I had to walk through that again the following morning, and I was just freaking out the entire time.
Like you had your eyes peeled, just like
exactly
looking around every single little branch.
everything, especially once I got to that bridge. I was like,
and what would you have done if it come back?
then I'd have to go back the long way again and take another 10 minutes. Yeah, I would have definitely.
You wouldn't even try your luck at sneaking behind it or like swimming underneath it.
These are snakes.
Snakes can't swim.
Snakes can swim.
No, I don't
Maybe
think
not
so.
the brown snake, but
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of snakes can
No,
swim.
we're talking about the brown snake.
Yeah, but how am I
that was
gonna
on your
swim?
bridge. Like, I don't know. You'll figure it out.
Anyway,
Wait,
what?
just before we move on,
Okay.
I've heard a lot of things about like people like compare it like it goes hand in hand that Australia goes with dangerous animals.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that's like such a big case, you know what I mean? I think everyone else outside of Australia is just a giant pussy. It's not that bad here. Really. Like the most recent experience I had was going out the fly screen door and there was like a giant huntsman there, but it wasn't going to attack you. Like I still opened the door, went outside. I did maintain eye contact with it though the entire time.
I mean, you need to. Like, the second that thing disappears,
Yeah.
that's when you really freak out.
They're not gonna animals. They're not gonna hurt you if you don't hurt them. Like I've been to
Magpies.
Oh, yeah, you got me there.
Yeah, no one
Bloody
else has magpies. Swooping at you every time.
You've been swooped by a magpie, haven't
Yeah,
you?
I have. Didn't even realize it until, like, my teacher was just, like, calling all the school kids to come towards him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's when and then I felt the wing kind of brush the back of my neck, and I realized, oh, I'm being swooped. So I just had to pelt
I
it.
guess it's a pretty bad situation when the teacher's like, "Get away from the bird!"
All these kids are just running. And I'm just like, what are we doing? Oh, okay, that's what we're doing. Bam. And I'm just out.
I've had magpies draw blood before. Okay, the most dangerous animal in Australia is not the black. What's that spider? The funnel web spider. It's not the redback spider. It's fucking magpies. Mm-hmm. They'll attack you just for looking at them wrong.
It's true. They'll attack you just for being around.
Right.
And they think that you're looking at them wrong.
Oh,
And blue bottle jellyfish.
no, they're not as bad as magpies. Like blue bottles are just going about their way. If you get in their stingers, that's your own fault.
And that kind of ruins your beach culture, though, right?
It does, but nothing ruins Australia like magpies.
No, you're not wrong. They're a pain in the ass. It's just... But yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm getting at. So maybe dangerous animals are indeed part of our culture. It's just we got to learn how to avoid them on the beach when we're playing sport. Just in general, just walking around and trying to be normal.
So that last 3 minutes that we sort of spent trying to disprove how dangerous animals here are is just gone full circle and we're back to square one.
Back to square one.
All right,
They are indeed
great.
dangerous.
Great.
So yeah, I think that those are my 2 or 3 points to add on to the 5 that you've added.
Right.
But I guess now we should probably talk about our own sort of culture, like maybe some aspects that we of Malaysian culture or Filipino culture that really stand out to us, you know?
Right. Right.
Why don't you go first, Clement the Malaysian?
Well, Clement the Malaysian will speak. My family's of Chinese Malaysian background, so a lot of like our cultural rules and traditions, they come from like traditional Chinese culture. The only really Malaysian thing I can think of is during the New Year time, we have this thing at the start of every year. It's like a bunch of shredded vegetables and like salmon or whatever, and you pretty much mix it all together. It's like in this giant dish, and it's just, yeah, like I said, piles of shredded vegetables and pickles and that. And you kind of just, everyone gets in, the whole family, friends, whoever's there on the day, on the first day of the New Year, and you kind of just mix it all together, like, and while you're doing that, you're like wishing for good wealth and good luck in the New Year.
Cool.
That's really the only really Malaysian thing I could think of. And yeah, I think I've like in my family now, we've kind of pick and choose what traditions we follow.
Well, kind of putting that game onto you. Let's not use 5 because I reckon 5 was actually pretty difficult. Let's say 3, if you can think of 5. What are 3 cultural points in Malaysia that you can think of, like
cultural points? What do you mean by a cultural point?
Kind of like how you're talking about, you know, sport being something very, very close to
so
Australia's
like
heart.
things that are
like
Malaysian.
values and you know, things like that from Malaysians.
Right. Food is definitely one of them. Just because Malaysia's also like Australia, like a mixing pot of cultures. You got 3 main cultures there, and they've all come with their own foods from their own origin places, and it's all just come together in this beautiful, delicious. That's the only sound I can think of that really sums it up.
That adequately describes food.
Yeah. It's just, food is definitely, actually, I'm going to give food 2 places.
Okay.
Because Malaysian food is food culture there is massive.
Yeah.
And the third one would probably have to be. Why don't we come back to me?
Yeah.
Let me let that thought marinate.
Okay.
Food.
Well, I guess I'll go to mine then for now. Well, food, of course, for the Filipinos as well.
Right.
Massively important.
Right.
I think family's also a big thing in the Philippines too. Like, at the very least, I know that pretty much in like sort of more provincial areas or a little further away from the cities, everyone lives with their families. Like, you got your grandparents, your cousins, your aunts, just your third cousins and everything, all living in the same like 2-kilometer radius or something. Even like just one house next to each other, and just always helping each other out. They're doing this, they're doing that. They're, you know, gossiping about a lot of things. Gossip is actually a pretty big thing there too. I'm not going to include that in my 3, I think.
Gossip.
It's so true though. I mean,
yeah,
they love their chismes, as they call it, because of this. It's a Spanish word for exactly that.
For gossip.
Yeah.
Right.
And they love that sort of thing. They just eat up like celebrity news and what's happening with these families. And you know what? I think I'm just going to include it as my as my third point. It's
gossip.
Gossip's pretty
lock it in.
pretty big for Filipinos. Yeah, I'm gonna lock that in actually. Yeah.
Right.
And, Did you have one? No, nothing else.
Well, I think family that's a very important thing as well for us. But I think that's also something that's more general. So I don't know if I want to include that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, and this could just be me not really seeing much on other cultural points of views, but it's always been like for our family at least, you know, when you're doing Christmas or doing New Year's, Easter, all those big celebrations, it's always with family.
Yeah.
But growing up, a lot of my friends who weren't of Asian culture were always like, oh, we're doing these things with friends. We're going to go over to the lake and watch the fireworks together. Yeah. My parents just going to be wherever they're going to be. I don't know. Felt like it wasn't as a huge point. I'm not saying if family isn't important for other cultures.
Right.
Definitely not. It's just that I think when it came to big events, it was
family
very family oriented.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's something that a lot of our Asian cultures actually share too.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. But I also think when we talk about family and those kind of the way we see it is because growing up in a different place, family means a lot more to us. And like when you were saying that all that stuff about family, I was like, yeah, my family is like that. They all live super close to each other. They're all super tight. They do everything together. But then I thought about the other side of my family where family was nowhere near as close. Like brothers and sisters don't get along. Cousins, don't hang out with each other. They don't even necessarily like each other. When we see it, and I guess it sticks true to the point of this podcast. We're seeing things from our perspective.
Yeah, well, that's exactly all this is about, our
Yeah,
perspective.
yeah.
When you say, like, cousins not getting along as well as other families,
Yeah.
is that a particular side of the family that's doing that? Like, for example, are those ones that are living in Western societies compared to the ones living back home in Malaysia?
So my family in Australia, just the four of us, we're the only people who live outside of Malaysia.
Okay.
The rest of my family is Malaysian. But like the immediate thought when you said family was, I pictured exactly what you said. Like the side of my family that's really close together. And then the other side was an afterthought kind of thing.
Right.
Because I, like, growing up here, I never got to see my family. Like, I saw them once every 2 years when I was a kid. So I did like to have this ideal image of my family.
Right, yeah, of course.
And then when you think about it a bit more, you're like, hey, family's kind of fucked up sometimes.
Oh, there's problems in every single one, I reckon.
Yeah.
And they all have that sort of, they all have their own issues.
Right.
But, yeah, well, how about we kind of segue from this back into what we were going to talk about in terms of, what do we take from our Australian culture? What do we take from our Asian cultures? You know? Well, in your day-to-day life, what is definitely prominent for you?
Shoes.
Shoes.
Shoes in the
shoes,
house.
Obviously.
Yeah. Not like, Nike. Nah.
No.
Shoes off in the house, and like your family's the same as well.
100%, definitely.
Yeah, shoes off in the house because you don't want to be dragging shit through your house.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All over the carpet. Like, and it's surprising, like, whenever I go to, like, a white friend's house, I'll start taking off my shoes. They're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean, what am I doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, just by default, I'm like, do I leave my shoes here?
Yeah.
Like, no. Why?
It's only, like, you guys take 2 steps in the house, they turn around, and you're just like, so where should I leave these? How did you get off? What?
How did you do that so quickly?
Yeah.
It's just something we've learned over the years.
Right.
No, definitely the no shoes in the house.
Right.
Huge thing. Like, when I moved out for a little bit, when I was living overseas, this was South America. First thing I did when I got my apartment, mopped down that floor, kept the shoes at the front door,
Yep.
and that was it. No shoes ended up inside that house for the rest of my time there.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It feels cleaner that way, obviously, but
Yeah, because your shoes go into a lot of crap.
yeah, it's true.
Literal crap and like figurative crap.
Yeah, it's I could never really understand how people didn't, and I feel like a lot of just Asians in general keep that particular culture
Because it makes sense. Like,
it makes sense to us.
There's no other way to us.
I know very few. I know one or two, but they have people come in so many times, like every day of the week. If they're not out at someone's place, someone's at theirs.
Yeah.
And I could think they're getting a bit older too, so they just kind of gave up on the whole cleaning thing, and just like whatever, we'll just keep shoes on in the house. And I mean, it works for them,
Right.
but yeah.
For me, another thing that kind of sticks out is feng shui or feng shui in English, or as white people would say it. That just deals with like the flow of energy through your house, like how you organize your furniture, which way your house is facing, those kind of things. They kind of lost a little bit on me and my brother because we've both had our own places already. Although we still call our mum, like when we're moving to a new place, we call her as like, hey, jump on FaceTime, can you help me organize my room? It's not so important to us. My mum is an absolute freak when it comes to those kind of things.
Right.
She'll go absolutely nuts. Like, one day I bought I think I bought a desk or something, and I went to go put it into my room. I put it into this corner, and I I was just putting it together. That wasn't its like final resting place. She's like, no, you can't put it there. What are you doing? Like, it's just, yeah, that stuff is, she's nuts about it. I do fault, like, the main sort of elements of it. Yeah, I do try to do that because it's still in my traditions. I just won't go like, like, oh no, you can't put this dice on this corner of your room because, you know, the sun is at the north. And when the sun is at the north, you can't be putting things of chance into this side of the room.
Is that really like a...
No, I just made that up.
Okay,
But it sounded real.
Say, that sounded
because
legit. Like...
there's a lot of bull crap, you know, like that you just like, hang on a second. Also, another one is numbers. Numbers are very important. When I got my very first apartment, we went to look at like a bunch of apartments. I think we looked like 6 or 7 in one day. And there was some really, really nice ones at the same price point. These were all in the same price point. And this one, the number on the door was 380. And apparently that's really good luck or something in Chinese.
Right. Is it because 8's like very lucky, right?
8 is lucky, and there was something about 300. I can't exactly remember, honestly. But my dad's like, get this one. Like, don't even think about the other ones. This one is 380. And I was like, but it's small. And really, really, really noisy downstairs. But he's like, trust me, you get this and you get great grades at university. And so I did. I got that one. And I did get really good grades at my first uni. I don't know, maybe there's some truth to it. But I just thought that was like a crazy reason because there was like the other ones were in great areas. It was quiet on the street. You know, the sun wasn't shining directly in the window, so it wasn't going to get hot.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a pain.
You know, my dad's like, get this one, no questions. That's
and
it.
You did it, and you got good grades.
Do you have anything like that?
Feng shui or anything like that? No, not really. I mean, does that come from a bit more of a, like, there's a spiritual, religious sort of background to that, right?
I think it's a more of an like an idealism instead of it's not a religious thing.
Right. Well, Filipinos are very Catholic based
Yep.
because, you know, Spanish conquest and stuff. You know what I'm talking about.
Right, yeah.
So there's a lot of Spanish influence on the Filipinos, but I don't think there was any sort of really big sort of you have to have these items placed in this sort of position or anything like that. Right. I think more it was just styles and just the sort of designs that were taken from Spanish culture.
Right.
But when I think about it, we have very little in terms of Filipino culture in our house, in our just everyday life sort of thing. I don't know if this is just a Filipino thing or if just like Asians in general again, but you guys ever keep things just in their wrapping for a really long time? It could be like remote controls or couches even, things like that.
Okay, so my family back in Malaysia does that. That's something that was lost when my parents came here.
Yeah.
They just think it looks stupid and just like, what the hell?
100%. Yeah. My grandparents, even when they started living here, still had like the plastic on the couches for months.
Right.
And I was just like, I'm not going to sit on that. That's got zero comfort.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay here. Same with the remote controls.
Yeah.
They just always have the plastic on it. It was gross. Like, it looked like just cling wrap that had just been over it for about 8 years. And probably was about like 8 to 10 years before someone was like, this is disgusting, and took it out.
Yeah. It's weird to me because it's going to have to be used
exactly
sooner or later. Like,
it's one of those you got to keep it in pristine condition sort of things.
for what reason?
I don't even know. Maybe it's the same thing as, you know, when you've got the good china or stuff like that in the cabinet and it never sees the light of day. You know, like the plates and the nice plates and cups and glasses and things. You're not allowed to use them. You're not allowed to touch them. You just look at them and imagine. Just imagine you're eating on them, but you're not because you're not rich enough. You don't deserve to eat on the china.
That's a good point. Food. In the Philippines are there any like foods that they don't eat there or? And have you guys kept those kind of things here?
No, anything like that would just be sort of, again, religious based. Like there is a mix of Muslims and Buddhists and Catholics, Christians in the Philippines, and it really would only be up to that. Filipinos eat pretty much anything. Like we're pretty notorious for that.
Balut,
pag. Do you know what pug is?
I don't think so.
Pug is okay. Here's a little story. This pug is more for the people who are not doing very well in society.
Yeah.
Essentially, you know when you go to KFC or something and you buy chicken. Obviously, you're not going to be able to eat every little piece of skin or meat on that bone, right? There's always going to be a little bit left, especially like on say a drumstick on the top or the bottom or something, right?
Okay.
Anyway, you chuck that out, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people go to those bins, take those tiny pieces of meat on the bone, reheat it like on a really, really hot, intense flame.
Yeah.
And then sell it off to be eaten again.
So they collect the bones from the trash.
Yep.
Or like what you've thrown away and sit there picking at every little piece of meat or
pretty
hanging
much,
skin.
and then recooking it to get rid of all the bacteria and things that are.
Why have you eaten that?
I have not eaten this.
Oh,
I'm just saying that. I'm just going into this whole.
I thought this
thing.
was like based off of experience. You haven't eaten it.
No, I don't think I could. I could barely stomach like some normal foods in the Philippines.
Okay.
Pug literally means to wipe off or to kind of brush off. So, yeah, that's pug. But yeah, we got balut as well. That's not as bad, I suppose.
Look, it looks disgusting. I can't eat all of it, but like when you crack it and there's the juice. Oh,
juice.
It's like the purest chicken broth you've ever drank.
And one day, we'll probably try it here.
Oh yeah,
like the whole thing. Like, you're gonna crunch. You're gonna taste a little
do you
layers
like it
of
actually?
duck. I haven't not had it in a long time,
okay.
so I can't say if I still do.
Oh, this will be interesting. I guess,
and like they're aged differently too. So some are a lot stronger than the others. We'll find some and we'll do that. One podcast.
We're gonna have
sooner or later.
We're gonna have an episode where we just eat each other's food.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, like not off each other's plates, like not like that, but like
culture.
Yeah.
And like not just the good, the bad.
Yeah,
like the real bad.
One of the cultural things that we keep in the house that came from Malaysia is my grandmother. She's like a certain kind of Buddhist, and that Buddhism don't allow them to eat beef. So growing up, my mum, she almost never ate beef. To this day, she doesn't enjoy beef. Like she's had it a couple times now, but she won't eat it unless it's sort of like you go to someone's house and she's cooked it. She won't really cook it too much at home.
Right.
So that's one thing that's kept to my mom's generation. But for me, I love steak. I love I think if I was to be left with any meat in the world, just one, I could only eat one kind of meat for the rest of my life.
Steak.
It'd probably have to be a steak.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a nice, juicy steak with some béarnaise sauce.
Yes,
and chips.
Definitely.
I should get a steak after this.
I'm genuinely... I haven't had lunch yet, so I would almost be down for that.
Well, you've got a lunch date now, buddy.
Who?
Me.
Oh.
Clement the Malaysian.
I'm busy. I've already eaten, actually. But,
right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Sorry. I'm stuffed. But, I understand that, that sort of, idea with the big meat sort of thing as well. Like, with food, Filipino culture, rice. Everything is with rice.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's one thing that's really, like... That's something that we've definitely kept, actually. Everything we eat is with rice.
Well, because in Western culture, rice is usually more of a side dish, isn't it?
It's almost like the mashed potato on the side of whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for us, like
juicy steak.
My dad would tell us that my great grandmother, what she'd do is she'd get one piece of prawn and like a bowl of rice.
Yeah, and
that was her whole meal. Like that one piece of prawn, she could just eat that with the entire bowl of rice, and she'd be good.
Yeah.
It's weird, and I mean, I couldn't go as far as that, but. Like, we love our rice.
Right.
We've had it with hot dogs. We've had it with, like, whatever.
What, in the hot dog?
No, not in the hot dog. Like, with hot dog.
But hey, that's a business idea.
That's when you get...
Carbs on carbs. Yeah. That's what we'll call the business.
Carbs on carbs. I feel like in today's society it wouldn't go very well.
Yeah, actually, you're right. And just one final question, just to wrap everything up. Is there anything that... Okay, so you know about your grandparents' culture, you know about your parents' culture, how they've taken it. Is there anything that you... just yourself have like tweaked a little bit or changed a little bit at all?
I don't know, because I'm still living with parents.
Yep.
I've still kind of just been incorporating whatever their sort of side of things is, I suppose maybe diet wise, especially lately, I've been listening on that rice intake for one.
Okay.
Like it has been I've been changing it up because, like I said, Filipino is a very carb heavy diet.
Yes.
And you can tell with a lot of our uncles and everything that
Right,
they've had that carb diet for a while.
When they get into that middle age.
Exactly.
sort of,
Yeah. So I'm trying to change sort of food habits, and they do like to do a lot with their food, and I like to be a bit more minimalistic.
Right.
That's probably the biggest thing that I can think of in terms of that culture. Also, actually, talking about that furniture and things that we did before, they love to have the really drapey sort of style. It's super old in my opinion.
That's just like the Filipino aesthetic.
Yeah, because again, Spanish aesthetic.
Oh, that's
they,
right.
They took a lot of influence from that. I'm not a big fan of it. I like a bit more minimalistic, sort of
contemporary
approach.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So whenever I have things, like my room, for example, would be a bit more less flowery or drapey and things like that than other.
Yeah, it'd be kind of worrying if you had flowers all over you.
Hey, that's a bit, you know.
Well, because I know you and you don't like flowers. That's why.
Yeah, I guess so. It would be a bit strange. What about you? Have you had any sort of anything that you've taken your own twist on?
The main thing that I can think of is, and this is sort of like a mix of Western and traditional Asian kind of thinking, but on the first day of Chinese New Year, you're not supposed to eat meat at all.
Oh, yeah.
And I took that sort of to the next level, and I do it for the entire 15-day celebration of Chinese New Year. And that sort of came from a little bit of Western thinking where you need to you want to clean out your body and it's just unethical to eat meat. And I've kind of mixed that together. Although it doesn't make so much sense because I eat meat every other single day of the year.
It's sort of like a detox to start your year almost.
The detox. That's the Western part of the thinking. Like, have you ever heard of like an Asian person saying, "Oh, I want to detox my body"? No, they just eat it and drink tea.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The tea is the detox.
The tea is the detoxing,
Yeah.
but I mean, I love tea, but I don't drink it that much, and I sort of use that 15 days as a sort of reset, like a body reset for the year, in a way.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea, and it kind of bounces off the two sort of cultures that you've got.
Well, I think I want to incorporate that into my family in the future as well.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's definitely
bring it all together. But yeah, so this episode has been about culture. I think you know we've made plans for future episodes a lot actually.
I think so. We keep doing that.
It's hey man, why not?
Yeah.
Keep the ball rolling, keep things going.
Yeah, definitely. So
to wrap everything up, if you guys want to listen to us some more or just check out our other episodes, you can find us at Podbean. That's firstimpressionspod.podbean.com. This is difficult.
You want to try that one again, just in case?
Yeah, okay. For everyone who wants to find us on Podbean, firstimpressionspod.podbean.com, at YouTube on First Impressions, Twitter, podcast_FI, SoundCloud, First Impressions, and our main point of contact is our email address, which is firstimpressions.pod@gmail.com.
Yeah, I think that about sums up.
Yeah, until next time, guys. Till next time.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.